So have you ever had one of those moments where you and your partner just sync? Now, that's not magic. That's actually biology, and it's called interpersonal synchronization. And I'm going to show you how to achieve it on the other side. Hi, I'm Scott Schwartley, and I'm the founder of Coelle, a guided intimacy app for couples. And today what I want to talk about is how you and your partner can get in sync without even saying a word. So if you think about it, you can find that mutual flow state simply by your touch, by your breath, by your heart rate, where your bodies can become in sync, again, without saying anything. And we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. So the studies that have been done on this, in fact, there have been many of them, that you can actually get in sync, again, where your brain waves are aligned, your heart rate's aligned. This is what is called physiological synchrony, and it's really the language of intimacy. But what's the hang up? Well, the hang up are actually the words that you share, and let me talk about that for a second. So obviously the words that you use can be a very beautiful and intimate thing, but if you think about the science of it, words actually activate the prefrontal cortex of your brain. And so this is the part of your brain that's responsible for thinking. And we've talked about this before on this channel, but when you think too much, when you're in an intimate moment, it can really convolute things. And so the less talking means the less thinking that's going to happen when you're in an intimate moment. And so if you really want to find synchrony with your partner, start talking less so you start thinking less, and so you can actually achieve that flow state together. So again, words are good, but for the case of this conversation and for really great intimate moments, it's not so good. So again, if you want to achieve synchrony, talk less. All right, so what can you do, or what should you be doing to achieve this sort of, again, mutual level of a flow state? All right, let's talk about it. So one of the first things that you can do is focus on your breath work. Now, I've mentioned this in a previous video, but the breath work that I would recommend for an intimate moment is to practice coherent breathing. So in other words, this is 4x6 breathing, where you inhale for 4 seconds, and then you exhale for 6 seconds. So by doing this, you're actually activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for really reducing your heart rate and amplifying how you feel as far as comfort, security, and safety. And those themes there, particularly safety, that's absolutely essential for when you think about a bedroom environment. So again, first place to start here is focus on your breath work, sort of establish that foundation. All right, let's talk about number 2. The next thing is to match rhythm and tempo. So if your partner is breathing a certain way, well, then you should breathe in that same way. So by doing this, you're activating, getting science-y on you real quick again, but by doing this, you're activating the mirror neuron system, which is basically your brain's way of matching what somebody else is doing this. And so if you can kind of dial in together, that's a great place to start building that sort of unified tempo and rhythm, and it's going to get you closer to, again, this mutual flow state. All right, so that's number 2. Let's talk about number 3. So the third recommendation here is to follow the flow of energy. So if you're following number 1 and 2, and that's breath work, and you're kind of dialing into each other, and you're matching each other's rhythm, number 3 here is to follow the energy. So what I mean by this is really pay attention to the space that's happening between you. So that heat, that touch, that energy, that electricity that is starting to emerge and ignite. By having that awareness and to know that that's happening, you're gonna be able to dial in to the energy that's in existence there. So this isn't sort of woo, this is actual real science. But by having this awareness now that that's actually gonna take place and it's gonna transpire, you can tap into it more. All right, so that's number 3, is follow the flow of the energy. So you've got to be aware of the moment, and again, kind of seize that opportunity to match it and to flow with it. All right, let's begin to sort of wrap this up. So getting in sync with your partner, it sounds easy on paper, but this is going to take some intentional effort. You're going to have to be deliberate. You're going to have to go through the process of doing things that we've talked about here by practicing breath work and matching each other's rhythm. You're going to have to take that little bit of extra effort into the bedroom. So it may not happen overnight. It may not happen immediately, but by being persistent and being consistent as well, you should be able to achieve this level of synchrony with your partner. Now, again, you don't need to say words. Again, words are just going to sort of detract from sort of the end result that you're going for. So again, it's all about managing your body and mirroring it with your partner. So keep at it, keep working at it. Again, not an overnight fix, but with some intentionality, you should be able to make this a reality for both you and your partner. All right, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Obviously, this is a growing channel and continuing to invest here in the topic of guided intimacy. And I'll leave you with this, as I do in all the other videos. Remember this, intimacy isn't automatic, it's guided.